Hey, everybody, I'm a live wire. Did you know that?
Yeah. Wow.
I am Julie Murphy, and we are here to awaken your health because it is time for us to live the life of what I would call embodying real wealth. Comes from my book, Awaken Your Wealth, and that's why we're here to talk about your health, because we either work things out or react it out, and we do it through our health or through our money.
100%. And I am 𝐾𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫, the spiritual bodybuilder, and I'm here to talk about your health. And we're going to be mixing up this health and wealth with the stars and the astrology and figuring out where to go in this very unknown times. And you can check out all my stuff at spiritualbodybuilder.com. I have an amazing ebook talking about how all the different parts of the body talk to each other. And we're going to be diving deep like we do, you know, every Monday night about all these crazy energies going on and what is going on within the relationships of health and wealth. So, Julie, how's your weekend been?
What's that?
How's your 4th of July lunar eclipse weekend been?
Lots of energy, my friend. Lots of energy. And I will say that it has been super helpful to be in the place of just observing how others are adjusting to the energy as opposed to participating in it with them.
Okay.
Because I think there's a lot of crazy going on out there. You know, people, meaning
crazy
that people's fear.
You know, the volume is dialed up for the crazy right now. That's for sure.
Yeah. It's like, it's like, I don't know. There are songs that just keep popping in my head, but I just really feel that the more grounded and the more centered we can be and not participate. You know, I heard from one of my teachers that lower vibrations, or if you're religious, you know, people would say that's the devil. You know, lower vibration angels or the devil work through wounded people to bring down bright lights.
Ooh, yeah.
And I am watching this happen everywhere.
Yeah, you're right.
And you know what? When somebody is really shitty to me these days, I'm like, how are you? Are you okay? I'm like, have a great day. And I just smile at them.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Because I'm just like, I can't participate anymore. I just can't.
Right. And that's sort of where this great divide is. That's where we're at. And we're heading further and further in that direction, because look, like our vibration, like it's incongruent. That opposing vibration, you guys could debate and talk until you're blue in the face. Nobody's going to listen to anybody because the vibration is not there to collect it. It's and so the collection is because people are projecting, right?
Exactly.
They're not receiving it. They're just like, it's like, I'm rubber, you're glue, bam.
What is that? When I'm rubber, you're glue, whatever I say, bounce
off me and sticks to you or some shit. Yeah. That's basically what's going on. Right.
Did you just go back to grammar school?
I think we did. That's showing our age. Represent. Yeah.
Oh,
hey, 40 to the new 20, right? Or whatever, however they say that.
But see, this is what it's about. Like, we're having fun and we're like doing what we love and what we're passionate about. And, you know, I really know that, like, for me, the Julie brand, which is where my books are, and this Awaken Your Life series is coming from, is like really letting me let my freak flag fly. Because I'm talking about things that I didn't necessarily, you know, being a conservative financial planner, you know, I'd have my pearls in right now and I'd, you know, have my patent leather shoes on. Yes, which I do own because that is an aspect of who I am.
Of course.
But I've taken it to a whole new level. Like, I was so excited today, if I may share a story.
Bring it on.
I have been asked to be a part of this group that does divorce without the court system.
How is that possible?
They're taking retired judges who now work as private judges, and they do it without all the contention of the trial system. And one lawyer gets another lawyer, and the only one who gets rich there are the lawyers. But so in the lawyer community, there are attorneys that have gotten sick and tired of, this is not healthy for people.
It's definitely not a healthy system at all, period.
No. And so these judges and these attorneys have decided to create this new, beautiful certification, and they're having me teach the money piece to it all. of how people can split their assets in a loving and compassionate way and just allow people to just move on with their lives because it just didn't work.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
It's beautiful and it's wholesome. And so like today I had
that is amazing. That actually sounds like they're trying to help people.
I know, it's beautiful. It's called 𝑊evorce. And as opposed to divorce, it's 𝑊evorce.
𝑊evorce. I love it.
Beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And if anyone wants some more information on that, I can certainly refer you to this system.
𝑊evorce
And
instead of divorce. Don't divorce, 𝑊evorce.
To me, this is the future of every business model because
I think we're going to start to see a lot more things like that coming up.
And it's not just in the legal world. It's in the financial field. It's in the health field. It's in the educational field. Like this is expansion. This is like treat people with love and respect. And it's okay to have a different opinion.
Yeah.
And how do we not destroy people in the meantime?
Exactly. Yeah. Like let's stop destroying everyone and actually help people live better lives, not trap them into these monopolies that have been created to just keep people stuck in the same place. That's got to go.
There is Billy. Billy referred me recently to this book called The Science of Getting Rich. It was written in 1910. So it's a 110-year-old book.
I think I read that.
And I listened to it recently and it was really interesting. In there, it was like, just only listen to things that uplift you. Only listen to things that bring you expansion. It's like, it's everything that you and I talk about. Right. What was interesting was it was here 110 years ago.
Right. Thinking back to like, there was people teaching this stuff hundreds of years ago, but our consciousness wasn't ready to fully absorb it. Like, like it could be absorbed.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Well, and it was all, and I find it super interesting that it's resurging right now too, because if you go on YouTube, it's like, there's tons of people who have been listening to it. And it's like, we have to reprogram the negativity to positive stuff. And whether it's your health or your wealth, I don't care what it is, but all that needs to be reprogrammed because we deserve it.
So true. And this lunar eclipse that we just had. And
the moon was beautiful, by the way.
Yeah, it was huge. It was absolutely amazing, especially with all the fireworks and everything. It was great. Although I will say that, when I was seeing the fireworks go off, like it was reminding me a lot of like, when I was in Iraq, just, with all the stuff happening in the United States, you never know what's going to happen. I'm surprised there wasn't anything on the news. Well, I haven't watched the news, but like about like attacks or something like that going on around the cities. Hallelujah. Thank God that nothing really bad.
I don't know. I'm in Chicago and that's now considered the crime capital of the United States and didn't happen here. So
okay, well then that's a good thing. But yeah, the energy of this lunar eclipse is really all about just putting, endings to all those systems. Capricorn represents, these corporations, the government, all these structures and systems in society. So we're going to start to see here, especially over the next 6 months, a lot of actions being taken to make fundamental changes in these systems. And we're already seeing it. Like you just said, 𝑊evorce instead of divorce. That's a freaking genius. Like that
reminds me also of the book that The Science of Getting Rich. They talk about that you go from the place of creation, going from competition to creation. And that we have to understand that that in the past, you became rich by competition.
Right.
And there was a purpose for that, to create organization, structure, society. So that's like the Rockefellers and, a lot of the politicians and the infrastructure. But he says in there, God gave us riches for competition. And very soon, God will be taking away the people who created wealth from competition, wealth comes from creation.
Yeah.
And so we are creators and it's time to create our own lives. And that is what will be rewarded. And you and I are case in point, like money is coming to us because we're doing stuff like this.
Right. We're creating, we're coming from our heart and we're creating from our heart.
Exactly.
And our societies have been conditioned to be competitive, right? But we're starting to see that all these competitive things, even competitive sports, how's that going to come back with everything going on in the world, right?
That'll be
It's going to be
well,
interesting how sports evolve in all this stuff going on in the world.
Yeah, that's a really great point.
Right? I
Well,
mean,
and how many people have abandoned certain professional sports because it became not so healthy?
oh, it's so super unhealthy. It's absolutely insane.
Well, it's kind of like the other day I heard that Tom Brady's going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I was just like, and it was
What?
because yes, I know, 20 years with the
Wow.
New England Patriots, and this guy brought all the woo-woo stuff
Oh yeah,
to the
He's
Northwest
biohacking
in a big way.
Uh-huh.
And the old patriarchy of New England, they had a disagreement, and he walked out.
Fucking New England,
He
man.
just signed. It was just a couple weeks ago that he signed with Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I'm going, Tom Brady?
Wow, that's shocking to me. But
Well,
come on,
it
man.
shows me
New
what
England,
parts
what
are.
you doing? Like, I'm from New England. Like, I love you guys, but come on, stop making better decisions. Jeez.
That's old. You know, so I'm from Chicago. Chicago's very old school too. Like
Right.
the change thing
New York,
is
too.
like it's a very fear-based system. I mean, we got
Yeah.
𝐿𝐾𝐿 history here.
Right?
You know, very fear-based, very like under my thumb, and
Yeah.
you know, and we gotta,
we gotta do away with that stuff, man. Come on, we gotta evolve.
right. I know. I was thinking that a lot of people in New England are going to be really sad about that.
Yeah, I mean, Tom Brady is like it's like New England's
He is
hero.
New
Like,
England.
people worship that guy.
Yeah,
It's
he's a Tampa Bay Buccaneer now, bud.
Woo. Well, you know,
I know.
but so it's interesting because you would think like, okay, on the East Coast they're all way behind, but over here on the West Coast in California is like they're dying off too because of all these bad decisions that they're making. I mean,
you telling me I'm safe in Chicago in the middle?
well, that's.
I know. I'm kidding.
I think that it's more safe around like the Midwest or even even here in Vegas and down in Arizona and Colorado. Well, Colorado's doing some weird stuff too, but it's kind of hard to pinpoint exactly where is a good place to be because things are hitting everywhere like randomly.
They really are hitting everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, and you know what? No matter where you're at, it's about building your life from the inside out, not the outside in. So if you
exactly.
look at the coasts are very extreme in one way or the other.
Yeah, they are.
Not good or bad. You know, California has pushed evolution across the country.
Oh yeah.
You know, and that's a beautiful thing. And you know what? New Yorkers held their ground and pushed back when things got too out of whack. You know, so I feel like it's almost like a pack of siblings. You know, it's like you keep each other in check. You know?
Yeah.
And the rest of us are in the middle kind of going, okay, well, maybe not. Okay.
Good point. Yeah, you're right.
And who knows? You know what? I just really, did you hear about Kanye West?
I've been hearing like bits and pieces of people talking about him, but was he like running for president or something?
Yeah. Well, you know what?
Was that a joke?
The discussion I had over the weekend was about the fact that he actually is pulling more of the vote to the other way, away from the Democrats.
Really?
Because he's running Republican.
Wait a minute. Kanye West is running as a Republican?
Well, that's what they said. Or is he running for a Democrat? No, he's running for Democrat. Sorry. I don't know I don't follow politics. But
Yeah, I don't know either.
Something pulling somebody away from something else.
But you know what?
The Democratic vote. That's what it was. Splitting the Democratic vote.
Okay, well, whatever it is he's trying to do, like God bless him. Who knows? It's anybody's guess as to what's going to happen here in the future. I mean, with all the stuff, all the crazy stuff going on, just get ready for surprises because we never know what's going to happen.
Well, and that's kind of why I'm bringing up all this kind of crazy stuff because there's a lot of extremes right now.
Oh yeah, you got that.
And are you going to allow that to affect your health?
That's a good point. We are. It's like
I'm really not into any of that stuff. But I got wind of a lot of it this weekend with the people I spent time with, and it was just interesting to me to go, wow, like we really do focus our lives outside of our own inner knowing.
Well, right now the inner knowing is not so knowing because it's transforming so much. So there's like, I've been feeling this sort of like this void space in my energy.
Right.
Like when I try to ground, it's like, it's almost like there's really, the ground where I'm trying to ground to is like shifting under my feet. So
there is no ground, right?
Right. So I'm having to find other ways to just center myself as opposed to grounding myself. Because
Like,
grounding
what
is
do you do?
What's that?
What do you do?
Well, I have a couple guided meditations that I listen to. I use 𝙈𝙁 to really, like,
really good grounding tool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you tell everyone what 𝙈𝙁 is?
Huh?
Can you tell people what 𝙈𝙁 is?
Yes, of course. So 𝙈𝙁 is,
I don't think a lot of people know what that is, but it's an amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. So 𝙈𝙁 is a shamanic medicine that comes from the Amazon jungle, and shamans use it as it's an invasive mapacho tobacco, usually with other herbs, and it is made in a very shamanic fashion where they pray over it and infuse energy into it, where they have different kinds for different specific outcomes. But fundamentally, it's there to cleanse the energy and to ground out your spirit, so that you can it'll open up the third eye, it'll open up the heart chakra, and it can even make you purge if you're really toxic. So yeah, I like to use that quite often, to just sit there and just be with myself and really ground my energy. What I find is the best for me, if I'm running around in my head too much, it helps to clear my head, so that I get out of my head into my heart.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really amazing on how I've learned over the years, a lot of these old ancient traditions.
Yeah, they're all coming back. They're all coming up.
They really are, and they're beautiful.
Absolutely. I love it.
I actually had someone reach out to me in the finance world, go, Jewel, I heard you've been going to these shamanic, things, and I want to know more about them. And I was really surprised because it's an executive of a company. And I was just like, sure, I'll tell you more about it. And,
wow.
Because I was first introduced when I went to Costa Rica, and I had an aunt who actually lived with the Native Americans in South Dakota. And she spent her 20s working with the Native Americans and in their customs. And so I was a little bit exposed when I was a child in terms of, some of the customs and things of that nature. But the fact that it kind of goes all full circle years later, that, working with some of these shamans from Peru, from the Amazon. And, I'm just fascinated how there's these really simple solutions to many things that don't cost a lot of money.
It's almost too simple. People bypass it. They look right past it because it can't be that simple.
They don't have to pay a couple grand for it. It's
right.
But they're so useful and they're so helpful to people to help heal what's going on in the human body.
Yeah.
I know, you said this a couple of weeks ago that has really stuck with me about the ascension symptoms, like pain in the body, because when we first started this series, back in February, I would get pain on my masculine side of my body. Now it's all on the feminine side of my body. And it's in the back of my head here. And it's I almost feel like, your amygdala. I talk about that all the time these days. But it's been rewired on the divine feminine side of my head. And I'm and it's not a headache.
Right.
And I'm just okay, just let the energy
ache.
Right? How true is that statement?
Yeah, right.
It's just I don't even know what it is. I just want it to go. I'm so ready to.
It's all that. Well, we have more and more energy moving through our physical body, and as it moves, it's almost like you turn up the pressure on a hose, right? Well, it's going to expand more and more and more and more, right? And if there's any kink or any blockage in the hose, it's gonna straighten out that hose, or it's gonna expand, open it up. So that's sort of the energy coming through us. It's expanding all this energy, and if there's a blockage, it's going to hurt. So when your heart's trying to talk to your, when your head and heart are trying to talk to each other, if you have a blockage in your throat chakra, it's going to hurt somewhere in your neck. If it's a masculine blockage on the right, feminine blockage on the left, And when you start to break this down, you start to realize, okay, this is what's going on. Okay, yeah. And then you can connect these dots and pinpoint, oh, okay, that's what I'm holding on to. That's what I need to let go of. I have this attachment. I have that attachment. And then, you know, as you connect those dots, it's like, boom, aha moment. Okay, cool. I see it. I understand it. Now it can go. Bye-bye. Bye, Felicia. Right?
Later, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that is, you know, I found that, I mean, maybe for me, I think for me, it's a little more intense than most, because this full moon lunar eclipse was right in between my natal sun and Mars at 13 degrees. My sun is at 10 degrees of Capricorn. My Mars is at 15. So it hit me like right straight in my, right in my center. So that's why, like, the last couple of days, I just felt completely exhausted. And sometimes when you go through a deep, like bump in ascension, you almost feel cut off from source, you know, for like temporarily, right? It's like all of a sudden there's like this darkness or this void feeling around you that you can't quite put into words. And when you first start feeling that, it can lead to depression and anxiety and whatnot. But I think because I've experienced it so many times, I'm like, you know, okay, I just know I need rest. And I know it's just a transitioning process that I just got to get through. But I think a lot of people are feeling that right now, because Capricorn is not the easiest energy to, you know, work through, especially with these eclipses. But it's a good thing that it's ended a 2.5-year cycle. That a lot of, so really whatever you started January of 2015 and February of 2019, those are the two like major time frames where things were activated, and then this past weekend sort of closed out that chapter. It deactivated it. So whatever lesson,
you think anybody can clear that stuff faster than it's meant to clear?
You know, no.
Okay. So this is why I'm asking, because I'm a doer, right? I know how to get things done. I know how to push my way through. I have done so much work in getting myself to where I desire to be.
Right.
There are days that that I'm sitting here going, why aren't I there yet? And I'm like on divine timing, divine timing, divine timing. Like, it's not Julie timing, it's divine timing.
Exactly. And that's so it's a little more complex than that though. Like, I think that when we, like, you are like me, like we want to figure it out. So we go 100%, like we stay committed to the healing process. Right. So we dig super deep. Now, I think that in order to fully let it go, that's divine timing. But in the learning process, throughout the process, we could do no work, and it could happen like tower moments, right? It could just really suck, and we could just numb it out or whatever.
That card keeps coming up for me recently.
Okay. Or we can open ourselves up and dive into it and learn a lot of skills along the way. So I think that we have an opportunity, even though like divine timing definitely is at play when it comes to healing, right? But in the process of healing, we have the free will to choose how much we want to learn through that process, right? True. So if we're proactive at it, we take that and then we build something beautiful from it. And when we're building that something beautiful, then it's gone. It's like, yay, okay, I made it to the next level and I create something beautiful. Or it can be like, you know, well, this last 2 years sucked, hairy ball sack, and I don't want to fucking live, and I don't want to, you know, be around. And that's just not really, like, you know, I think maybe back like 10, 15 years ago, I had the attitude, but once I started doing the work, I realized that is just not a way to live. So we have a choice, right?
Right.
And a lot of that choice comes down to acceptance. Like, okay, I trust, I accept that, you know, the universe has divine timing and everything is at play. And I'm just going to be authentically me and do the best what I can do every single day. And when you take it like that, it makes the workload like, you know, almost not easy, but just part of the norm. And
I keep saying to people, do the next right step right now.
Yeah.
Your past doesn't matter whatsoever.
Right. I agree.
Not 1 ounce of your past matters. It's just about what is your next right step right here, right now. Yeah. End of story. Because everything else is irrelevant. Because if you try to think way too much in the future, you're going to be just anxiety ridden. And I'm a financial planner, you know, and I'll have people, you know, I've had conversations the last couple of weeks. People are like, well, because my income went down and this happened and that happened, should I now downsize and move my house and this, that, and that? I'm like, are you excited about moving your house? And they're like, not really. I'm like, then don't. Like, we have to understand that there's more than one way to accomplish what you want to accomplish.
So true.
And this is where it goes back to being creative and being the creator of your life, that get some imagination, get some creativity to whether it's your health or your wealth, your relationships, whatever. But sometimes it just takes being a little creative on things.
A little. I mean, so competitive energy and creative energy are like opposing energies. You cannot be in the same vibration with both, right?
Right.
So we have to like get out of it, because initially like it's like a branding thing. Like, you know, like say in the fitness industry, right? Like the whole like thing about competition, you know, like alpha as fuck and being all kinds of hardcore and, you know, grind all day and I work out 27 hours a day and I don't stop. Well, no, dude, that's the wrong answer. You need balance, right?
Well, I've started to realize that I get more out of walking slower than pushing.
Okay.
Like, it's been affecting, because I'm always the push.
Right.
But I'm actually getting more effective if I just slow down and walk at whatever pace of the energy level I have that day.
Yeah.
Which has been very interesting to me,
And
because I'm always the person who's like, am I maximizing my heart rate for cardio? Blah, 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 blah. and and that's just been not it. I know, blah, 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 blah. But that's been super interesting to me, because then my body doesn't hurt so much because I'm meeting my body where it's at that day. Yes,
exactly. I mean, you have to take into consideration your emotional state, your recovery state, what you eaten, what the weather, like the stress factors outside of you. Like there's so many things to consider. Harder or more is not always better. You know, like this day and age, you know, this higher vibration it's all about working smarter, not harder, in every single way. And what's smarter for you, for your body, for your mind, right? And that's balance. And to find that balance, you got to listen to your body and stop trying to feed this competitive nature, even competition within yourself. And I'm a super, you know, I have that, like, I got to make shit happen attitude, right? But there is a way to do that without being, you know, super competitive. About creating, like being in the present moment and getting into your mind, into your body, like getting that mind muscle connection, like super strong, almost like, you know, I go into like a meditative state now and I get so much more out of it. And, you know, like I'll be I'll be in the gym lifting half as much as other guys that are my size, but yet I'll be getting more out of it. Why? Because I'm fully 100%, all my energy is going into what I'm doing right there. And I think taking that and bringing it to everything that's going on right now is so critically important, right? Yeah. Because like I've noticed that a lot of things, like especially my opportunity community, right? It's the people that put 100% into themselves. It's the people that 100% dive into their goals and their purpose and their desire to upregulate. They're the ones that have the breakdowns and breakthroughs and the expansion and the abundance and the realizations and the love. And it's the ones that are just sort of like dipping their toes in the pool, that are always back and forth and you know, stuck in indecision and I'm not sure where to go or what to do, or always looking for like something else, like, or what else can I take, or what other coach can I work with, or what else can I do over here? You're always looking outside of yourself for the answer. The answer is right here. You don't need all that shit.
That's so true.
Right?
And is that what you mean by the language of the human body with that beautiful sign behind you?
Yes, it is.
Tell us more.
Exactly. Well, it's cut off at the top here, but above that it says decrypting the language of the human body.
Ooh, and how do we decrypt the language of the human body?
By bringing everything into conscious awareness about what you're feeling, what's going on. So the physical body speaks like the body is the subconscious mind. Okay, right. So and the subconscious mind is 95% of our brain's capacity. So when we learn the language of how our body is speaking to us, through pain, through like intuitive hunches, through like even how we digest food, right? Yeah. Through all these little nuances, when we tune in and pay attention, we know what the body is trying to teach us. And if we do that shit, we're in, you know, Earth school every single day, right? Because there's synchronicity.
Sure.
Exactly. And that's in learning to, you know, let these synchronicities teach us is the biggest lesson I know I've learned in my entire life. It's all about learning to read those synchronicities, like, you know, learning another language.
That's so
Mind
true.
body language.
Yeah. I mean, it's really amazing to me. And the first book I was ever introduced to about that kind of stuff was Louise Hay's Heal Your Body book.
Louise Hayes.
Yeah. Louise Hay. So she started Hay House Publishing.
Oh, yes,
And-
yes.
And her book, you know, I was fascinated that, you know, she came out with what was the emotional cause of whatever physical ailments that you were having. And then what was the healing affirmation or prayer for that? And that's when I started to realize like that's really just talking to your physical body for it to have a different belief system so that you don't have these ailments that are then created from a physical perspective.
Absolutely.
And that really is something that you have to, I think it's important for people to realize that it's not just, you know, something's coming up with your feet. You're probably having a tough time moving forward in life somehow.
Yes, exactly.
You know, like there's
Exactly.
a reason behind those aches and pains in certain places. And it's usually unprocessed emotions that have crystallized cellular wise in your body in those places.
So very true.
Yeah.
And a lot of that stuff is coming up in big waves right now. I'm meeting so many people that are having all this stuff, you know, really just coming up, and people are a little freaked out. You know, I think in the last week I've had 2 people contact me telling me that they've had friends that have died. Just weird random occurrences. It's so strange. There are so many souls choosing to leave this world right now, but it's because they're at a soul level. They're choosing, hey, like I'm done. I don't.
Right.
But you know, I almost feel like, you know, well, you know, good for you. Like no more struggling, no more suffering. Like you're ready to start over again. Okay, cool. It's so interesting to me to see, like right now, especially with all this fear mongering going on, when you have a certain relationship with death, like I'm not afraid of death. I'm not, that doesn't say that I want to die. Of course, I want to live. I love living. Right. But because I'm not afraid of death, it allows me to experience life so much more.
Isn't
I'm not
that
terrified.
the truth?
Right.
Yeah. And that's where I sometimes have a challenge with religions, because it's like you have to fear the unknown and fear everything else. And I'm like, I'm so done with the fear-based model of living.
Yeah.
Like I'm just not, you know, I just can't tap into it anymore, because I don't think I was put here to like be afraid of everything.
Right.
Like, you know what? I don't care if it's coronavirus or if it's an earthquake or whatever. Like I have people that are like, you can't go to California. It's going to fall in the ocean. I'm like, what? Like,
gonna fall in the ocean.
Like, really? Like, I just can't even like conceptualize, like, why would you give that power over your life?
No kidding.
I just really don't. Like, to me, that's not something to give energy to, because for me, one of the best things about my makeup is the fact that I'm adventurous. Like, if I'm not having a new adventure, like I'm just not being Julie.
Right.
And, you know, and I have to keep having the next adventure. And a lot of people can think that I'm crazy, but you know what? I gotta tell you, I think that's why I don't look almost 50 years old.
No
like,
kid.
I have other people in my life that are the same age, and holy bejesus, you look 60 years old. You know? but I really truly believe it's because, like, get busy living or get busy dying. Your cells read that energy of are you expanding or are you contracting? And if you're contracting, it's going to create on a cellular level disease in your body.
Oh yeah.
In a big way. And the question is how is it going to show up for you? You know?
Absolutely. We're either building and creating and living, or we're degenerating and decaying and dying. There's just there is only those
You're
two.
on one track or the other, right?
Yeah. There is no middle ground. There is no stagnancy.
Well, and I always go to say this, like, so the work I did with Deepak Chopra, I realized Deepak would say that a cancer cell develops because that cell has lost its sense of purpose. And I remember sitting there going, why is it that I have all these men in my client base, which when I actually analyzed it was 50% of my male clients between 55 and 65 years old, all developed cancer around their hip area. And so I was like thinking,
that's a huge percentage.
Right. I was like,
Holy
how
crap.
did they all lose their sense of purpose? Because I was naive and Deepak's the medical guy. So, okay.
Yeah, right.
And what I came into knowing was when I analyzed it all, every single one of those men were let go of their jobs, not by their choice.
Ooh.
They were not emotionally ready for the next phase. But when you don't shift your life, you're given warning signs and warning signs and warning signs. Your spirit is trying to talk to you.
Yep.
And when you don't do it yourself, you're nudged. And then you're hit with a 2x4.
Yep.
And because your soul will push you to the next place.
Oh, yeah.
And you're either going to be able to do that or you're not.
So true.
Right. And so I would just urge people out there that you're getting the signs in your life as to how, not necessarily how to shift, but that you need to shift.
Oh, yeah.
And understand the how usually doesn't come until after you take the leap of faith.
So it never comes before you take the leap of faith.
Right. But we're all expecting it to be there first because we want a safety measure. It's kind of like how people say to me, Julie, how are you an entrepreneur? Like, I like my guaranteed paycheck. I'm like, really? I think I have a better guarantee. I could fire everybody who works for me first and I still get a paycheck. Like, who has the better guarantee?
Right.
But people's perception is because they work for someone else that they're safer than I am. And I'm like going,
it's an illusion.
Yeah, not the last time I checked.
No.
You know? And so you got to watch what it is that you're putting out there into the world. And if you're getting these little nudges, pay attention. Pay attention. Because they're telling you something. And our bodies, like you said, give us such great clues and signals that you have to process something, you know, or pay attention to something.
And right now, more than ever, it's the clues are getting stronger and stronger and stronger, saying, hey, you need to pay attention to this. Whatever you're feeling is teaching you something. So look at it, right?
Well, and I always tell people, if you're triggered by something that is said or done, and I have so many people argue with me on this one, but if you're triggered, you are the person that needs to shift.
Yep.
Not the person triggering you.
Absolutely.
It's hard. If you're operating from your ego and your mind, it's really hard for you to swallow that I'm triggered and I'm the one that's got to do the work. Because a lot of times you want to go, but.
Yeah,
you know, and you want to.
Or defense mode.
No butts, no coconuts.
I like that. It's so true, right? But, oh, geez. Now every time I say but, I'm going to think, but no coconut.
That's okay. It makes us giggle.
Right? Yeah. So that's, what's meant to be right now is going to be. I work with a lot of people right now, and I love, like, I used to try to get people to, to hear me, to understand,
hear you when they're meant to hear you.
Yeah, like so if you're going to someone and you're trying to, get them to wake up and hear something and they're not ready, it's just it ain't gonna happen. You gotta let that go, even if it's someone very close and dear to you. Right. Which is, I
actually just gave that example in my company today.
Oh yeah.
There's I was training somebody and they were saying how someone they're trying to work with is just like really negatively reacting to the advice. And I go, you still need to say the advice, whether or not they choose to accept it or move it. That's not your job. Where it lands with other people is not your business.
Yeah.
What is your business is that you do what you know is the right thing and you present the information. If they don't act on it, that has nothing to do or any reflection of you. It's just that they're just not ready to hear it yet and they're not ready to shift. but also understand that that's also okay.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, like, I know being trained in the financial services world, we were trained all the time to sell stuff that wasn't necessarily the right thing for people.
Right.
It was to make a sale.
Yeah, of course.
And so
that era is dying, by the way.
Very, very much so.
Yeah.
And it's not even how my industry operates today. My industry's, moving more holistic every day.
Good.
And
Beautiful.
yeah, from more of a comprehensive planning perspective.
Okay.
All the energies go into that direction.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
I just think it's important to just understand, like, what is the energy behind where it is that you're trying to create in your life,
Right.
and what because to me, it's all about doing the best for the whole, as opposed to maybe just you or your own.
Absolutely. Well, I think when we have the intention of helping humanity, of the humanitarians, right? What we all have a gift, and we take that gift and we share it with the world. And when we do that, then the universe makes sure that we'll be taken care of.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
We step out there with the intention of helping others. But what I think a lot of people get caught up on is they step out there and, even they're helping other people. They're like, well, what's in it for me? And I know I was in that place for a long time, and that's a lack mentality. And that's something that,
and that blocks money from coming to you.
Right. Yeah, it most definitely does.
Like I always tell people, where you get your revenue and your income stream may not be directly from the source that you assisted. Like if you help someone and it advances humanity in some level, you're going to wind up with 3 other referrals, and that's where the revenue comes from.
Yeah, right.
It's the way spirit works is it's not direct. It's not linear.
Yeah, so true.
It's very indirect and it's very subtle, but you have to understand that it always comes. And you have to believe that it's always going to come. What's that?
You have to believe that it's always going to come.
If you don't believe it, it's not coming.
Right. I know.
Which we all have a lot of beliefs that we're releasing these days.
Absolutely. And that's the same with love. Like, if you don't believe you deserve, true love, then then it's you're going to learn lessons over and over and over again because you're not coming from your heart.
Well, you will attract the same bird with a different name.
The same, exactly.
But the same patterns.
Yeah, the same learned lesson.
Yes.
Until it beats you down so bad that it crushes your ego and you're going to have to start all over again. I know, because I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt. Yep.
Did you burn it?
I did, actually, yes. Yes. I burned it and sent it off to the universe. Okay, learn the lesson. Thank you. Thank you.
That's awesome.
I am ready for that true life partner, empire building. Yeah, let's get it, brother.
Well, and that's where you claim it, because it's all vibration.
Yeah,
right?
So true.
You have to think, speak, and feel it, because that's all vibration. Otherwise, it's not coming to you.
Yeah, 100%. And we're seeing manifestations happening faster and faster and faster right now. So fast. But also, too, what I've noticed is these psychic attacks are getting really, really intense, because these darker forces, they don't, there's so much light shining that they're like terrified. They don't want the light to come out. But we, like, as empaths and as, as sensitives, we have to really make sure that we have our boundaries solidified, or, have a coach or someone.
Tell us more about that.
Well,
I know what you're talking about. I just don't know if our viewers know what you're talking about.
Yeah, of course. So, when we, many empaths and intuitives and, star seeds and light workers and whatnot, we are born into this world, and we typically we feel everybody's pain, right? So because we do that, we tend to have, like, very weak boundaries, and we have to learn how to create boundaries, through that pain. But we tend to build walls first, because it hurts. We put our defenses up, right? And then eventually at some point we realize, well, this isn't giving us what we want. So we need to create different types of rules, if you will, in our energetic space. And those rules are our emotions, what we're willing to allow in and what we're not willing to allow in. So as we break these walls down, the walls come down, then we feel vulnerable, and that makes us feel really scared, right? That's that Pluto kind of energy, which has been very powerful this entire year. So those walls come down, And then from that very vulnerable and weak feeling place, we have to build up these healthy boundaries where we let people in, but we have a solid filtration process where, okay, well, this person is making me feel like not good. So I'm not going to let that in. I'm not going to believe this. I'm going to choose to, like walk away from this person because of this. And it may be like they're a narcissist, or they're just trying to suck the life out of you, or they're manipulative, or whatever the label you want to put on it. You have to trust that feeling within. And so that learning process, it's an initiation process. Like, it can take a while.
Well, and I realized, like, I wound up with something today where I was served more legal documents today, and I just was like, my physiological body went to that PTSD place that I had post-divorce.
Yeah.
But what I noticed is I went to a place of fear, but I now can recognize it. And so, like, I instantly shifted it going, oh, I just watched myself read an email. Yeah. I went to my brain and I tried to fix it and solve it. And I was like, oh, I'm in my brain again. Get back to my heart. My knowing is to hold the space, and all will be fine, and everything will get to the other side. Even though these psychic attacks are like trying to get me to go back to my fear place. Yeah. And be in fear and competition. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to go there, but I've had enough time of building the muscle of these kinds of things that I'm watching as this great awakening is happening with so many people, that anything that you have unresolved is going to get you to trigger. And those triggers are like emotional snags from trauma from your childhood, typically.
Right. Absolutely.
And we've talked about it before, that there are different things that you can do to calm that nervous system down, because it's when we're triggered, we just have to, it's just that our nervous system has some hyper reactivity because of a prior life experience.
Yeah, it's a fight or flight response, like automatically.
Yeah, like just triggers you right away.
Right.
Yeah. And it's about just like, let it pass through.
Being the conscious observer and allowing it to be okay. I actually got served the other day with something too. And same thing. Like, I felt
welcome to the club.
I know, right? Yay. But feel it come up, like, okay, I'm not going to let it, like before I'd let it hit me and, and affect me. Now it's like, nope, sorry, not going to happen.
Well, and then you can be from the place of the observer.
Right.
And just be like, this is just projection.
Right. And the more that we can trust, we realize
that's all a part of the process.
Right. That we realize, and we have patience, and we realize that when the time is right, the things will come around, and
totally.
and karma is always at play. So doing the right thing, helping people, having positive intentions, and facing your own shit. Don't just be like all love and light. Be like, okay, I got to face this. I got to feel it. This is what's trying to teach me. Have coaching.
Or I have to finally address what I've been trying to bury.
Yeah.
That's a big one, especially for women, particularly. Like, we like to stick our head in the sand.
Yeah.
Like it didn't exist. And it's like, no, it exists, and it's right now in your face yet again.
Yeah, you're gonna look at it. Then every time you look at it and you feel it and you embrace it, it gets easier, and you get stronger, and you start to understand it, and it starts to all make sense, and it connects the dots, and then you get to a point where it's like you've just trained yourself, just like weightlifting, but energetically. That's spiritual bodybuilding, huh? Yeah. So that's where everything just sort of clicks, and you're like, okay, I trust, I have patience, I'm strong, I'm grounded, I'm present in my physical body, I'm present in my mind. And then, but we're always going to be tested. There's these things that are going to try to pull us out. And it's just like, always like, okay, just bring it back. Just bring it back. And that's where we have to have that constant practice of, taking care of the mind and the body.
Yeah, so for sure. And it's loving yourself enough to actually get into the state of being the observer. And sometimes people need to meditate more to get there. Sometimes people need to go for more walks out in nature, work out more, eat healthier, because all those things allow you to be more in the observer state and stay in a state of neutrality as opposed to reactivity.
Absolutely.
And that really does create your health reality.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, we just have to pay attention to those things because we don't realize how much they're actually affecting us.
So true.
You know?
True.
It's crazy. Crazy good.
Crazy
and
good.
I'm sure we have a lot of people out there because we're watching these COVID numbers go up in some states. What do you think about that?
Of course they're gonna grow up because they're testing more people and all the look, dude. I'm sorry, this whole thing is complete bullshit. All right, the masks are coming over from China. They're infected. The testing kits are they're actually infecting people with the test kits. It's complete bullshit. Not to mention that it's fading. Nobody's even dying from it anymore. It's
yeah. The death rates are going down.
Just stop. It's like, come on, it's a fucking scam. It's been proven over and over and over and fucking over. I mean, like all these things that are going viral about the masks, right? Wearing a mask is actually beating up your immune system, making you unhealthy. You're recirculating your carbon dioxide, and you're not to mention you're using it over and over and over again everywhere you go. You're touching it.
Really that good?
Like
I actually went to the doctor the other day for my annual appointment.
Yeah.
And I had to take the mask off that I was wearing. I had to put it in my purse. And then they gave me a new one that I had to wear for exactly the point that you're talking about, because all these old masks, like, they're dirty.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're using them every day. I don't know about you, but I'm not washing mine every day.
I don't wear one.
Yeah, Chicago, you got to wear it if you want to go buy groceries.
Well, if I have to walk in somewhere, like I have this like, well, I have this like face covering from Burning Man, right? And so I put it around my neck, I put it on my face when I walk in, I pull it down so I can breathe. Then when I walk out, I put it on just to play the game. But I'll tell you what, if this shit goes any farther, when they try to implement these more strict rules to people, because right now it doesn't really influence or affect like the silent majority. But once they try to put some more stringent rules on there, people are going to start to rise up. It's going to get ugly.
Yeah, well, we'll see if people do that, because I was on an economic call today, and they were talking about how really from an economic standpoint, which these are all left brain logical people, so they don't really get into the emotional side of it too much. But they're talking about how the analysts are really watching Georgia, Florida, Arizona, and California pretty closely, because they're kind of taking on the stance of like Switzerland, where it's like, herd immunity. Like, it's okay that people get it.
Yeah.
The death rates are down.
Right.
And then people are going to build immunity to it. And that's actually better than a vaccine.
It's the point of what they're trying to tell people a vaccine is, but real herd immunity does not require a vaccine. It requires a healthy immune system. That's it. It's so simple, but it doesn't make anybody money.
Well, you never know. Well, it'll be interesting, making money at the cost of humans is no longer going to be rewarded.
Nope, not at all. And that is the stuff that's being exposed right now.
Yeah. And so we just have to trust, right? We just have to trust that no different than like, letting go of other things. Like, we can't get hooked into all those stories either, because again, that affects your personal health.
Yeah, that's so true.
I don't have any radar of COVID whatsoever. Like, I'm like, okay, it's this thing that gets me blocked from walking on the lakefront in Chicago all the time. Besides that, I'm like, I get it's real. I get it's affecting everything, but I'm also not afraid of it.
Right. Yeah. Like,
so it's
I think I probably had it back in December. I got, I felt like crap for like 2 weeks. I got over it, and I've been fine ever since. Like,
that's awesome.
This whole thing is it's a big psyop, and I'm not buying it. And a lot of people aren't buying it because
and to your point, it's about just really work on your own personal immune system. Exactly.
Keep yourself healthy. And we haven't seen any politicians or even many doctors out there. Like, there's been a few, but most of them are, what kind of drugs can you take, or what kind of measures can you take? It's not about, okay, how about let's focus on strengthening the immune system and nutrition and, like taking care of yourself mentally and emotionally and physically and staying strong that way.
The integrated medicine person that I've gone to for years says that the average MD only takes 6 hours of nutrition. So they don't really,
They don't know.
they don't have that. Like, unless you're talking to a naturopathic or a nutritionist,
Right.
they've got a lot more education than an
Right.
MD.
And that's why and that's why in this coming age, in this coming era, people that have like actual experience over like certification or schooling, that's what's going to become more prominent and how people are going to like get paid and have jobs. And actually, I think a law was just passed. Trump passed a law about experience being more important than that exact same thing that I just said.
Really?
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah. So it's definitely moving in that direction, because we're starting to see like like all the so-called experts out there, they're usually just paid people that are not really experts in anything, or their expert opinion is not accurate.
Well, and it also depends on how they got to the job that they're in.
Very true. Very true. There's a lot of like, you know, there's just there's politics and everything. Totally.
Well, I just want to tell everybody, thank you so much for joining us, because this is another week of Awakening Your Health. And if you need to get some more tools for your toolbox, you can certainly come to juliemurphy.com. And if you need to awaken your relationships at 9 a.m. on Thursdays, I am working with an expert in relationships and dealing with people who are struggling in relationships. And she's got some really great tips and tools on Thursdays. And you can see me at juliemurphy.com. And Nam?
Beautiful. And you can catch me at spiritualbodybuilder.com. I have an awesome opportunity community for exactly what we were just talking about, you know, like, you know, health and wealth, and focusing on making the human body and mind as strong and as healthy, and raising the vibration and connecting people and just doing some pretty awesome stuff. So check me out there. You can download my free ebook on there too. And if you like an astrology reading too, check it out.
Yeah, my astrology reading's been great. I love it. You guys should check it out. Thanks, everybody. See you next week.
Thanks, guys. See you next week.
Bye.